Our motto is called "To Dare is to Do."
I don't know why.
What are we? Yeah, there's no point.
Doing nothing.
I knew we wouldn't win that game from before we even stepped on the pitch.
The ambition that those clubs have shown in comparison to us is why we are where we're at now.
The amount of Arsenal supporters that are trying to justify this bad decision. Now, do we want to see goals like that chalked off? No, but you need some consistency. But for people to sit there and say that didn't have a direct impact on the result, you need to give their head a wobble.
I can see there's a player there and he's building and he's a confidence player. You can see it. And he's never going to build that confidence if he's not getting started.
Is Kane and Son to like Richarlison and Odegaard Hotel one of the biggest downgrades in football?
Imagine being in a relationship there and like 6 dates in, you got together and all of a sudden, oh, look over there, Glasnow's at that other table.
I worry that his ceiling is 5th or 6th and Europa League standards. That's my issue.
You know, Thomas Frank hasn't won a sausage in his career.
Disillusioned, we are divided, and we really need to find some common ground. Hello and welcome to Inside Spurs, sponsored by talkSPORT Bet, talkSPORT's dedicated Spurs show where we talk all things Tottenham Hotspur. My name's Majestic and I'm joined as usual by Sonny Snelling from Sonny Talks Spurs. Another talkSPORT colleague of ours, Molly Sumpter, is with us for her, unfortunately, her first time today. And we're welcoming back ex-pro and huge Spurs fan, Darren Ambrose. How are we, guys? Darren, are you in the right place?
No, I was hoping I was going to be inside Palace or maybe inside Newcastle, inside Birmingham.
Any of the other clubs have done all right this weekend?
Inside Apollon Smyrnis, but in Greece, but no. We're not okay, are we, today, let's be honest.
And I've got to say, Molly, sorry for doing this for you. I've been wanting to get you on the show for ages, and I do this to you after the North London time.
It's got to be one of the worst times to possibly make a debut.
It is.
Terrible.
And Sonny, wow.
Yeah.
Mate.
I'm getting used to this every week now. Like, are we going to have any positives to talk about today? I know Darren's got a couple, but it's a real struggle this week, I'm not going to lie.
And just to put this into real context as well, and pure honesty that we'd like to do an Inside Spurs, before we recorded this, there was an Inside Arsenal on there. We see how happy they looked, smug. But my goodness, I just want to start with this, right? Let's revisit a quote from Thomas Frank. If you don't take risks, you also take risks. So I think it's important that we take risks. If you don't risk the ball, you can't create anything. I'm hearing risk, risk, risk. Where was the risk yesterday, Sonny?
I'd like to think he's got this as a poster on the wall in his office because he needs to be seeing this because he's literally not taking his own advice. What a frustrating game. I mean, the game plan, the lineup, it was all over the place. I'm a big fan of Thomas Frank, but yesterday I think he's got to take a lot of accountability. Arsenal basically found a way to beat us in the 3rd minute when they chipped that ball over. Declan Rice, saved by Vicario. I mean, nearly went in anyway off of Kevin Danzo. I was literally waiting for it to trickle over the line. But it was just an absolute shambles. And we said on the last episode with you and Darren, can we see more fight after that Chelsea game the other week? It's the same old. Just no fight, no guts, no determination. And also, our motto is called "To Dare is to Do."
I don't know why.
What are we... Yeah, there's no point.
Doing nothing.
Yeah, absolutely diddly squat.
To quote Jamie O'Hara, we're doing nothing.
You've already gone 40 and Bill and us. We've got nothing left.
He's right. No fight, no passion, no desire. They got it all wrong. Did anyone here expect to go to the Emirates and win? No, I didn't.
We never do.
But I didn't. I expected fight. I expected something. I didn't expect 4-1. I didn't expect that. And it was a shambles. Again, quoting Jamie O'Hara, it was a shambles. And it's the last quote I'm going to be quoting Jamie O'Hara, by the way. But before the game, I coach a team, my son's team, under 15s. I coach it with another guy, Arsenal fan, and he said, "Oh, are you nervous?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I am nervous. I think this is going to be a demolition job." And I really felt that before the game, and that's how far away we are to Arsenal now. Yeah. There's a chasm between us and Arsenal.
Chasm's a great word. Molly, when it was unfolding, what was your thoughts?
Honestly, I don't think I've ever felt so disconnected from my Spurs team. It's so far from what we know and what we like as a club, what you're saying there about the motto being "To Dare is to Do." And we are a club that favours attacking and ambitious football, and we haven't seen any of that. I knew we wouldn't win that game from before we even stepped on the pitch. The lineup was so negative, it gave Arsenal so much credit, and it's that word ambition. I'm not seeing any of it from Thomas Frank or his football.
I've got to say that looking at it, and when it was announced, a lot of people were annoyed at seeing 5 at the back, etc. That's something we've been calling for actually, because the game against PSG in the Super Cup that we obviously lost on penalties, we played really well there, but it was a different kind of side. It was a more
different
aggressive
system, though,
and
it?
a different system, as
Two
you're
up
saying.
top. No, it didn't make any
But
sense.
I have to sympathise with Thomas Frank, and people are giving me pelts for this already, but I'm going into that game, right, as a Spurs fan, and I know we do not right now have the tools to go toe-to-toe with them, right? So I probably would have set up quite negatively, thinking, right, if we can contain this for the first half, then maybe we can then try and expand on that. That was clearly his game plan. It didn't go to plan at all. Thomas Frank's to blame. So easy.
But the thing is, like, it's okay playing 3 at the back, but you've got 2 DMs in there in Bentancur and Paulinho who can't progress that ball on at all. They can't even defend on the edge of their areas at the moment. You know, the amount of space Eze had, Trossard had, Declan Rice had. Like, you can play like that, but also when you're moving the ball on, that was a problem as well. You get the ball into those middle parts, like to the wing-backs of Dogie or Spence, they're looking to pass it back. There's no forward ball. There's no really, like, distinct dribbles up top either by Kudus or an Odebear, or Richardson's not wanting to play it to feet. And it was summed up by those free kicks on the halfway line by Vicario. They're just getting pumped up into nowhere. You also, the bit that confuses me is you're going toe for toe with one of the best aerial threats in the league. You know, Gabriel wasn't playing, but like him or Saliba, Hincapi, they'll just eat them up all day and just head them back out. Like, the rival claim them. Like, it's hard to go. I think we saw a really good plan by Sunderland before the international break of how to sort of get into Arsenal, a bit in their face, a bit of aggression, but it sort of just fizzled out, and we were just happy to sort of sit there, concede shots, concede goals, because, you know, Frank and a lot of people say he's football, he's aiming not to lose. Well, we did lose and we lost heavily. So, and this team as well, you've got to remember, we shipped so many goals the last couple of years. They're still not that comfortable, like, defending in their own area. Like, even Mickey van der Ven, like, we, you know, praise him for his like pace and power, but you could tell there was a few moments he got turned inside out, and Romero's having to get rash again. It's just a bit at the moment. And I like Thomas Frank, but yesterday I had to think, like, he's got to come under some criticism, because there's not even, I think Molly said it beforehand, there's not even like an ounce of like positive you can take from yesterday. No one player you can go, well, they had a good game, because it was all terrible.
You know what I see, and I don't say this lightly, because I've been there as a player. I've been on the end of a heavy defeat. From the 3rd minute when Declan Rice had the chance, we can blame Thomas Frank and we can blame the team system, the tactics. There was fear. The players were scared. And it's summed up by the 4th goal, when Jed Spence had the ball deep in their half for a throw-in, and no one was showing. No one wanted the ball. 20 seconds later, it's back at Vicario. We lose it in midfield. 5 seconds later, Eze's putting that in the corner for his hat-trick. No one wanted to step up from 3 minutes in. They worked us out from 3 minutes in, making those runs from out to in. That's all they needed to do from then on. And they worked us out. We didn't work that they'd worked us out. And it was a long game from after that. It was a long game.
Yeah, Molly, it felt like a long game, didn't it? It's just one of those ones where I felt like when we got that crazy goal from Richarlison, why is it we score amazing goals in North London derbies that we don't win? Thinking of the Rabona from Lamella. And it's always the one is like, you know, the housery of our team that scores it as well, that everyone loves because they do housery, and that's all they do.
He didn't take his shirt off this time, though, did he? The knee slide.
Well, I think Eze was alluding to that with his celebration.
His little celebration.
Even all of that, you know, we got well and truly schooled. We got taken to school. Molly, what would you have done differently, though? This is what I'm saying. I just think, whether it's Thomas Frank, it's Ange, sack Frank next week, get someone else in, it's going to be the same thing. Like, we have to... I'm going to take it back to, and this is why when all my Arsenal friends, and you know who you are, and you're in the comments as well, I can see you, were giving it the large yesterday, and they're like, you watching the game, Madge? I'm like, yes, it's my job to, because I'm up talkSPORT and I have a show next. You watching it, though? I'm like, yeah, we're getting battered. He's like, yeah, you're getting battered. I'm like, I know.
Just said that.
We was obviously going to get battered.
Yeah.
You are 5 years into this process that people mocked at the start, but we could see lots of signs that Arsenal were building blocks. I go back to when we beat them 3-0 with Harry Kane and Son. It was the to get the Champions League. We were behind Arsenal in the league. They then went to Newcastle as well. An emotional Arteta got emotional. It went into their players. Rob Holding got sent off. Spurs beat them 3-0, etc. We are so far away from that point.
Yep.
And you know, I'm going around the houses here, but there's a point at the end of it. I remember a game against Liverpool at Wembley when we beat them 4-1. Lovren got taken off at half-time because he was rubbish. That moment there, Klopp went out and bought Van Dijk and Alisson, changed their club, changed the trajectory. Arsenal, since that game when they didn't make the top four, they've gone out, Declan Rice, Havertz, you know, Eze, all of these kind of people. The ambition that those clubs have shown in comparison to us is why we are where we're at now. And as I was going back to the point there, you know, Molly, what else could we have done? Because there's nothing in the ammunition, especially with some of these players that are out.
I think the issue that I take is that it was very naive of Thomas Frank to think we can go to the Emirates. We clearly set up to go there and at best get a draw. We know that we do not have the attacking firepower at the moment. We're really struggling to put away goals. So with the way that he set up, it was clear that he went there for a draw. And for me, that was just so naive to think you can keep Arsenal out for 90 minutes at the Emirates, a place we haven't won for 15 years. Like,
but equally, just to come back on that, people called Ange naive for going and playing a different style of football. So whether you set up to stop them or set up to go at them, if it goes wrong, we're going to criticise managers, no?
I do agree. He's sort of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. But I think a lot of Spurs fans, after the frustration we found with the Chelsea game that we just didn't show any fight, didn't show up for a derby, to have another London derby where we've just gone there and just fallen flat, I think that's where a lot of like Spurs fans' frustrations are coming from.
Yeah. But that's why I'm looking around, Sonny, and I'm asking myself, yes, all well and good, Vic screams at people when they do mistakes, etc. But where's the lead? There's a leadership group, etc. I don't see that many leaders in our football team at the moment.
Maybe Romero you could, but even like yesterday, you could tell like he wasn't really keen. He was getting frustrated. I saw him bash the ball when it went out for a throw-in. It's just, you could tell like, you know, this is the first North London derby without Son or Kane, like any talisman really to hang your hopes on. It's just really, the thing is, we mentioned those big games there, Chelsea and Arsenal, but I'm still thinking Bournemouth at home, Villa at home. You know, even some of the Champions League games have been a bit underwhelming, like going away to Bodo Glimt and looking, you know, poor again. It's just, there's nothing at the moment that you can really go like, there's just nothing really in an attacking sense. I think he has fixed our defence to an extent, but all he said is just play a bit deeper, you know, don't make any silly mistakes like that. Like, that is probably easily coachable, but it's just, yeah, when you come to leaders, again, I said it then, there's no one you can praise yesterday. There's no one you could say showed a bit of fight or legs. There's just those moments where you think, oh, maybe a Sarr or a Bergwijn could have been good in that midfield.
I think Kudus is the only one that actually tried to move the ball forward.
But even him, he looked a bit like a rabbit in the headlights, didn't know what to do with it. He does this weird thing where he just runs around in like a big circle, like not knowing who to play it to.
Like a Semenyo player.
But it's just, there's just nothing really positive to say because there's nothing, like there's no shoots, is there? No green shoots.
The only thing I can say, and the only thing I can try to add positivity, we've spoken about this in the green room, is there's a moment in that game that took it the way it went. Yes, I will reiterate how poor we were in the first half, how I thought we were scared, we had fear, no one wanted to get the ball. But their second goal, Eze's first goal, was offside. Now, I go, as we all do, we go on social media. If I'm a Spurs fan, I go, well, we got away one there. The amount of Arsenal supporters that are trying to justify this bad decision. Now, do we want to see goals like that chalked off? No, but you need some consistency. There was 2 players offside in Vicario's eye line. Look at the Van Dijk situation with Robertson. It was so more obvious. Yeah. Now, I say most Arsenal fans, not most, the inside gunners said it was offside. Jay Bothroyd, I see on the TV, a ref watch said it was offside. The change in team talk, the change in the players' preparation, the tactics at half-time goes out the window when that second goal went in. We go in at 1-0 down. We don't make the substitutions. Xavi Simons don't come on. We stay with that formation. We try to hold out for another 15, 20 minutes. We don't also concede 20 seconds into the second half because we haven't changed the formation. This is all ifs and buts. But for people to sit there and say that didn't have a direct impact on the result, need to give their head a wobble, because it did. Do I think we would have won the game? No. But the whole game, the whole banter FC now is we could have had Eze and he went on to score a hat-trick. which he wouldn't have done if that goal was rightly called offside. Now, I just think all we're looking for is some consistency. You go and lose the game 3-1 maybe, but you have a go in the second half. You can hold your hands up and say, we were rubbish in the first half, we had to go in the second half. That one moment changed the whole game for me, and then they went on to dominate as they were going to.
Do you agree with Darren then, Molly? Like, that does have a bearing effect on the game. Obviously, I think we all agree the outcome probably would have been the same. But, yeah, consistency is something that we're not seeing when it comes to some of these decisions.
Yeah, and I think when you look at, like you're saying there, the manner in which the match completely changed because of that decision, especially when it comes to these really big, high-name games, these are decisions you've got to get right, and they're the ones that are going to get put into the spotlight when there's no consistency with the decisions. I do agree with what you're saying about, you know...
And do you know what? There's a recurring name, the referee that was...
Yeah, it's Michael Oliver.
Yeah.
And we'll call him out because for the
call
week...
Him out, straight down the lens, Darren. Call him out.
The week or two before...
Misfits.
The week or two before, you see all the I don't know, the groups, the fan groups calling that he hates Arsenal. Did that have an impact into that decision? To just disregard that and say no player was interfering. There's 3 players offside, 2 in direct line with Vicario. Now, of course he's interfering, and like we said, do I think it would have changed the fact that they beat us and they won? No, I don't. But I don't think it would have been as severe, as bad as a 4-1 and just capitulate in the second half.
Absolutely. Molly, we were talking in the green room. You talked about Xavi, and you would have liked to see him start yesterday. He obviously comes on for the second half. Why do you think Thomas Frank looked at that game and thought, oh, I don't think he's up for this? Is it because he looks a little lightweight and he thought North London derby, very strong team in Arsenal, he's probably going to get knocked around, which he did when he came on, although he did look a little bit more direct than some of the others. Would you, with hindsight, would you rather have started him just to at least have some kind of outlet?
Yeah, I can see where Thomas Frank's coming from with the squad selection, really going for that physicality, which does... I can understand the tactical decision to do so, but I also wonder where he expected us to get that creative outlet from when he doesn't play with a 10. I felt really bad for him when he came on, them scoring almost instantly, and it killed the game for him. You know, what do you expect him to do in that situation? And there were times in that second half where we would get into good spaces, and I can see there's a player there and he's building, and he's a confidence player. You can see it, and he's never going to build that confidence if he's not getting started. This is our big signing of the summer, and you're not starting him in a North London derby.
Well, that's it. You know, especially some Spurs fans post the Eze signing were like, we got the better deal. We got Xavi Simons. You know. Which is never going to be the case.
It's all played into Arsenal's hands, this game.
He's
just
lightweight at the moment, in my opinion. And I think it showed Declan Rice bullied him, essentially, in that situation. And then I think it was it with
Shame he didn't do what he did to him when he played for Holland.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think he needs to adapt to the Premier League. We spoke about Saturday a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? And spoke about we can see the player, we can see him coming, but he just needs to adapt a little bit.
We have too many of them, though.
Yeah.
Alderweireld, we can see a player. Tell, we can see a player.
He needs help.
We need help.
That's something that brings me to a great point here. Yesterday, Arsenal scored 4 goals.
Yep.
3 from Eze, 1 from Trossard. What do they both have in common?
Linked with us.
They were linked with us. Like, seriously linked in terms of...
More than linked, yeah.
More than linked.
Nearly in the
conversations. Are we still reeling? And I know our colleague Simon Jordan accuses Spurs fans of using Daniel Levy as a bit of a pantomime villain, right? Until we see the next transfer window, we don't know where we're at, etc. And even January is going to be difficult. Summer is what we're going to really see. But are we reeling from the legacy of Daniel Levy? Because another thing, for example, we see Liverpool got absolutely battered at home, whooping, as they say, at Anfield, right? But who scores there? Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yeah.
Could we have been setting up yesterday in the North London derby with Morgan Gibbs-White, Eberechi Eze, Kudos and Pellegrini, who have been good since they come in, proven Premier League players? Is the legacy of Daniel Levy having an effect on this current Spurs team? Because those players, as I mentioned, for whatever reason, didn't become Spurs players and are absolutely killing it for Arsenal. The
thing is, not to make it political, but it's like when a new government comes in. For the first year, they blame the former government, saying, they've set us up, this is all their problem. It's still, this is the bit that confused me, I was saying it before in the green room, it's still Daniel Levy's appointment, Daniel Levy wanted Vinay Venkatesan from Arsenal. It's still the Lewis family who are, been at this club for 20 years, and a lot of their decisions.
It's like you're doing a remix of Still DRE. Still.
It's just still. It's going to be Daniel Levy's image until we are making those bold moves. We're giving players wages that they want. Manufacturing deals that it's not just like, oh, we'll pay it over 5 years. Give it up front, pay the money that people want. Go back to West Ham and try and get a Bowen or a Paqueta. Like, we're always going to be left in the dust to these big teams. Because the thing is, even under Levy, we were always trying to act like a big team. We were always trying to go to this next level, but we just never did. And Daniel Levy, there were so many callers calling this talkSPORT last night and this morning saying oh, Daniel Levy this, Daniel Levy that. It's but he technically isn't here now, so we have to try and move on. The club are setting up new things with Fabio Paratici's come back in, Johan Langer as the joint sporting directors, and it all looks good off the pitch with the stadium and the training ground and all that stuff. But there's still that mentality of it is still Daniel Levy's vision. It's just another person in the hot seat. And this new board, they haven't really, they're not vocal. They don't come out and say anything. No. It is the same old Tottenham. That's the problem. It's going to be the same old Tottenham until we get into January and we look at, and we're going to do a section on transfers, and we go, right, let's slap some money down and actually solve these issues. Because again, in the summer, on paper, good. Kudus, Xavi Simons looked all right. But we still need a left winger. We probably could have done with another proper striker, because Colomwani maybe isn't in the be-all and end-all. And even other defenders, it is just always going to be, half measures at Spurs, sadly.
How many new signings, realistically, Molly, do you think Spurs need? How many positions do we need to fill?
Honestly, I think we need 4 or 5.
Listen, we can go through the team collectively. We've already said on this show.
Need a goalkeeper.
Need a goalkeeper, right? Like I said, if you compare Arsenal and Spurs, right, which we have to because, that's the game we're reflecting on. They're our North London rivals. There was a point under Pochettino where North London derby comes around and you're like, whoa, big weekend then, let's go. Now we've fallen so far apart from where they are. They brought in Ramsdale during the same period of time. So in that period of time where Jose Mourinho joined Spurs after Pochettino, which was probably the last bit of fun we've probably had, apart from winning in Bilbao that one evening. Probably the last bit of enjoyable football we've probably seen with Spurs for a long time. Arteta comes in December, right? So in that period of time where we've gone from Jose Mourinho sacking him before a cup final, Mason, then Nuno comes in, Conte comes in, Stellini, Mason, Ange, and now Frank. They've had Arteta. They've kept with him. And in that period of time, he's brought Ramsdale in. Aaron Ramsdale did great things for Arsenal, I thought. I thought he re-injected some passion into their fans with the way he used to turn around and celebrate. And their fans really enjoyed him. He went, he's not good enough. Got David Raya, who, for me, is arguably the best keeper in the league right now.
Yep.
I think apart from when Richarlison...
He did have a howler there.
And Sarr did it in the summer as well, didn't he? It's the only consolation.
He's in his deck chair, though. He didn't have much else to do.
Yeah, exactly. And then you look at their defence and how they've improved that every single position. They improved, even down to now... I remember when they brought in Benjamin White. He's like, oh yeah, that's a big signing. At the time, he was...
Arsenal fans now feel sorry for some of those players because they're like, you can't get a sniff. No. But then you think, you mentioned him before, but you've still got Emil Smith-Rowe.
Yes.
Eddie Nketiah.
Yeah.
A lot of them were like, came through Howe End. No, get rid. We need better. We need Gyökeres. We need, Martin Ødegaard or Eze. Whereas we're like, oh, but Richarlison could do something like that goal yesterday. No, you've got to cut your losses sometimes. That's Daniel Levy's problem. Think about all the players we brought in. Ndombele, Lo Celso. We didn't want to sell them and then they go on a free anyway, or they do a weird deal with Betis where we agree to get a player in but we don't even get that player.
Yeah.
So it is just an absolute mess. And the thing is, Arsenal would slag off their board and the Cronkies for some of their decision-making and Edu. But now even then, they got rid of Edu, they brought in Berta, and he's just... Some of the deals he's doing, I hope Paratici can bring a bit of stability from our end, but it is just... you.
Well, it felt like Paratici was probably the one that brought in some of the better players that we've had in recent times. But like you said, the Lo Celso one you brought was great because in that period of time, Bruno Fernandes apparently said goodbye to his teammates and he was supposed to be coming. And, whatever you think of Bruno Fernandes now, he'd
be like our best player right now. So
he didn't get across the line for whatever reason. Like I said, Ndombele. Just so happens we break our transfer record. It's always the nearly maybes. And Molly, that has to change if Spurs are going to go forward. There's no point having the stadium and Beyonce living there and Lady Gaga out turning up every weekend or me DJing at the boxing and my most fun time at our stadium is not at the football.
Best atmosphere.
Best atmosphere, because I was on the decks. No, but in all seriousness, that has to stop now, and it has to start January.
There's such a big issue, and I'm glad you said it with the Spurs stadium, that it has become such a commercial thing and such a commercial entity as opposed to a football stadium that we have transformed into a fortress. Since we've moved there, really we've been on a downward spiral, and there's not been a real... We're not able as the fans to make it... We don't take advantage of the fact it's our home, and the fans get on the players' backs, and they struggle to deal with that pressure that comes from the fans in the stadium. I'm struggling to see it fill out week on week as well. Not many people want to go. I think maybe that's down to the home record.
And also down to Son leaving as well.
100%. I think, and that links really nicely into the fact that since Son and Kane have left, we've almost got that shadow of them hanging over us that do we have a star player anymore?
Superstars.
We don't have any superstars. I think the one player that you can say would go on that pitch, grab everybody by the scruff of the neck and get the team going is Maddison. And he's not there at the moment. He's injured. We're not going to have him.
You could say maybe.
Kulusevski as well has got that sort of leadership to him. And whilst Romero, I think, has calmed down slightly since getting the captaincy, I still don't think I'd rely on him to be that talisman that we're saying that Son, Harry Kane were. And I think we're really struggling with not having that. You can point out that is Spurs' man.
Well, and world-class players. Like, you know, you go through that, and I hate having to talk about Arsenal so much, but we are reflecting the North London derby. You go through Arsenal's team, their core is world-class.
Yeah.
And that's
the spine, isn't it?
The spine. And when you go through the best teams, the spine is always, and there's more than just the spine, you know.
And they were missing players yesterday as well. You've got to remember, no
absolutely.
Gokrez, no Gabriel. I just think,
and you know, people forget Jesus plays for Arsenal.
Yeah.
That's Jesus won the Premier League.
I want to ask you guys this question: is Kane and Son to like Richarlison and Odegaard Tell one of the biggest downgrades in football?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, surely I've never known there was no plan though to replace them. It was just, I think the only plan they had in place was they went, right, Son's leaving, let's bring in another Korean superstar who can fill that quota of you know, we can sell merchandise, you know, when we go on a pre-season tour. But there's been no plan of where you see Arsenal, what they did was they went defence, then midfield, then attack.
Yep. Yeah.
Whereas we're just like, oh God, maybe
Anyone.
a winger.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, we still need a left winger. Oh no, we'll do that next year. Oh, Semenyo's already gone. It's all a bit slapdash.
There's no plan, is there?
No, there's no
But okay, but speaking of plans, let's talk about Thomas Frank and his plan then, because so many people yesterday were messaging me, ringing up on the final word on talkSPORT with Pards, and were saying he's out of his depth was one of the big ones I kept hearing. He's got to go now. I can't, you know, how patient are we supposed to be with Thomas Frank? I personally find it crazy to think about trying to sack him now. Like, this is... It starts to become embarrassing for us as a club.
You cannot keep chopping and changing.
Can you imagine?
Someone needs to have an opportunity.
Can you imagine being in a relationship, yeah, and like 6 dates in, you've got together, and all of a sudden, oh, look over there, Glasner's at that other table. They look like they're having a nice meal. We should go and get them.
Well, there's a trophy over there.
Yeah, I know. Like, we're never going to be happy. No. And I think this is why we do get bantered a lot by other clubs and other teams. We've just won a trophy, and you can mug it off as much as you want, people. Yeah, we've had a lovely night. Done. That's off the back. Now's the time to rebuild. What's happened in the last 6 years at the club of going between all these different managers has set us back 10 years, in my opinion. Because there's no trajectory for the youth team to come through. There's no team that you can build. Who was out there that game yesterday, like Molly's saying, to tell someone, this is the North London derby. Do you know what this means to us? There was no one there.
But they won a trophy, so you'd hope that they had a bit of a winning mentality.
Again, they've taken the manager out of that. So that's gone as well. So is Thomas Frank the man to lead us forward? I'm going to start with you, Darren. Is Thomas Frank the man to lead Tottenham Hotspur forward? You're unsure.
It remains but it remains to be seen whether he's the man to take us to that success of winning trophies year on year, which, look, we can say we've won that trophy last year. That's the monkey off our back now. We can concentrate on progressing. progressing for me is winning more trophies in the coming years. Is he that man? We don't know yet. It's still so early days. To say he's out of his depth, I think is harsh, extremely harsh. I mean, this was one of the most sought-after managers when he was at Brentford, and the job he was doing there, and people saying he deserves the opportunity.
Molly, is he the man for you?
I'm really struggling, if I'm honest.
What is it you're not convinced with?
The things that I find difficult is that I don't think I could name 5 games this season where we've played well. And I think that the same issues that we were seeing in some of the opening fixtures are the same issues that we're seeing now. I'm not for 1 minute saying we should sack him. I completely agree. This manager merry-go-round that we've been stuck in for years, it needs to stop. But we're in November now. He doesn't know his best 11. No. That worries me a lot. And it's like I said, it's the same issues we're seeing since the beginning of the season. I worry that I think he is a brilliant man. I think he is a tactical genius. And I do think that given the right amount of time, he will get somewhere. I worry that his ceiling is 5th or 6th and Europa League standards. That's my issue. And for Spurs, if we don't now, within the next 5 years, let's say, go and win another trophy of any calibre, that Europa League will get written off as a fluke. And then with
like one day Ramos again, wasn't it? Like that was a fluke, and he won
exactly.
It.
And then we're in the same position where we've got the same monkey on our back of, well, you don't win anything, your bottle jobs, you don't do anything. And so if we don't now kick on and win something else, or put ourselves back in that successful kind of stature, then we're going to be in the same place we were before we won the Europa League. And for me, Thomas Frank's not the man that's going to win us a trophy.
Says a no. Sonny?
How long we got? How long we got left on the clock? But, I mean, last night was the first time I've called him out, because the last couple of weeks, even like after Wolves and Villa and all those games I mentioned, I was like, but it is early. But now it's come to that stage where, that quote you read out at the beginning, even I said to some of my Spurs mates, I was like, he won't do a Mourinho or a Conte. He's not that sort of manager. But the fact he mentioned 17th place in his post-match press conference yesterday, I was like, oh, he's getting a bit, not spiky, but there was a moment where I thought, oh, he has got a bit of that side to him where he could maybe go at like journalists or, question Spurs, his mentality. The problem is, even, people have been calling out Ruben Amorim at Manchester United, but he did win the Portuguese league, rank that win where you want. But, Thomas Frank hasn't won a sausage in his career. He always got in his portfolio is he did well with Brentford, punching above their weight, don't get me wrong. But the other issue, you look at Brentford right now under Keith Andrews, they're looking all right, if not quite a bit more dynamic up top with Dango.
Is that not Thomas Frank's team, though? Because we can't use that on one and not on the other. But then how long
do we go? Like, for example, I never liked when people called, last year's Liverpool team Klopp's team. Yeah. It's still Arne Slot who's setting that up. I know they didn't bring any players, but it was still a different style of play. And people said, well, Klopp's football was getting tired. So I don't know how far we go between, is this still Andrew's team? It's really hard to judge where Spurs are. All I'll say is I think there are moments, such as yesterday, where I do listen to that rhetoric of he is still that Brentford manager, of sometimes the naivety, if he turns up to Brentford and plays like that and they get played off the park, no one's going to say anything, but your Spurs manager, so it's a different kettle of fish.
What does being a Spurs manager mean? But
what is success for us?
A Spurs manager won a trophy, got sacked.
Yeah. But then that's the problem with us as Spurs fans, is sometimes we'll go...
We bring Conte and we moan that the football is boring, yeah? We sacked Jose Mourinho before a final.
But it swings too much. Yeah. We've gone from Mourinho to Conte, then we went back to attacking football, then we've gone back to a bit more defensive. So it's what do we actually want? What do we see as success? What do we want as fans? Because at the moment, I'm sitting here and a lot of some Spurs fans and Ange fans are going, we shouldn't have sacked him. No, I still stand by that we should have sacked him. But at the moment, we're just questioning whether this appointment was right. I'll give him to the end of the season because I want him to see him do well. I think he deserved that, he deserved this go at a top job. But you've got to sit there and think, it has to be better. Because I kept going last season, this squad isn't 17th. But at the moment, it does look like it is 17th again.
I think for me, it comes down to, yes, he hasn't won anything when he's at Brentford, but, and I don't want to use this comparison because it's that lot down the road. Mikel Arteta didn't win anything before
But
took
he
that
was
job.
under Pep Guardiola.
He was under Pep Guardiola. What Thomas Frank has won is admiration for being a top manager who deserves a top job, which now, in my opinion, he's got. He just needs to tweak his mentality. We've spoken about this before.
But isn't that very similar to Graham Potter when he went to Chelsea? He didn't have
It does give me a lot of that, yeah.
You know, it's like, you're Chelsea manager now. You can't be having banter in press conferences.
But you can't have 12 league games, unbeaten in the Champions League, by the way. I know we're not playing the top teams. It will remain to be seen on Wednesday. We're recording on Monday, on Wednesday against PSG. But unbeaten in the Champions League. We are 12 games through the league. We're 3 points off the top 4. It's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah.
This is a manager who has never experienced Champions League, never experienced the pressures of a job like he's at now. He was always Mr. Brentford, no matter, you couldn't do anything wrong there. He needs time to be able to adapt to that and tweak his mentality, as Sonny said, and he's so right, we've spoken about this before. The going out and not losing as opposed to showing what we can do and going and take it to teams. That takes a little bit of time in yourself as well.
And it takes time for him to believe in the players that he's got and
agreed.
what he's seen. And just to correct you, Mr. Brentford is actually Chibadi G from Correct. We've had our say on what we think of Thomas Frank and how much patience we got with him. Let's have a listen to Spurs fan GJ, who called up my show with Alan Pardew, the final word we catch on Sundays at 6:30. And he had this to say about the Danish Tony Pulis. How are we, GJ?
Not very good, chaps. Not very good.
Just quickly though, did you expect anything other than that result going into that game against Arsenal when we have seen what we've seen in recent weeks in terms of the players, what we're putting in going forward? Did you think it was going to go any other way?
No, absolutely not, Madge. And I predicted we'd lose 2-0. I was delighted to see that Gabriel was missing because for me, he's like their... I know they've got some key players in the spine of their team, but for me, he's like the key man. But there's a way you lose. And, you know, like it's a North London derby. And Thomas Frank, right? I mean, he's looking more and more like a Danish Tony Pulis. Absolute caveman tactics.
Caveman tactics there. GJ, the Spurs fan, not happy. Are you not happy as Spurs fans? Have your say in the comments right now below and let us know if you think Thomas Frank is the man to take us forward. Because somebody has to take us forward as Spurs. And I am putting it out there now. I'm done with the merry-go-round. Yeah. If this is going to be a new regime, if we've got Paratici back and we've got all these things, we have to. And people mugged Arsenal off for trust the process. You come second. Right now, they're on course to not only win the Premier League, but possibly the Champions League. It's horrible. But they are being rewarded for their investment, for their patience, and by getting behind their team. Yep. And Spurs fans, at the moment, we are disillusioned, we are divided, and we really need to find some common ground. And I thought winning that trophy would have been it, but at the moment it doesn't feel like that.
It should have been the perfect foundations. But it's almost like you sit there and think, if we hadn't won it, where would we have been now? Because even like Manchester, I said it a couple of weeks ago, Manchester United lost that final and they went out and bought Mbuemo, Cunha and Šeško.
Did it early.
It did it early. We didn't do anything like that. So it's almost like, because you look at Andrew's first season and he didn't have European football. He had one game a week, maybe with the cups chucked in as well. But like,
which we went out of against Fulham, didn't we?
And that actually helped him, and that's what meant we finished 5th. So at the moment, I'm like, did we actually need this? Like the trophy, yeah, but did we need the Champions League campaign on top of it? Because it's all good and glorious playing under the lights. But at the moment, it's like, it actually might impact our season more than it actually helps us. Maybe financially it does, but yeah, it's just, it's a lot of question marks. As I say, I am still backing him, but I just think, you can call him out. Yeah, you have a right as a fan to call him out.
Well, let's work out how we're going to do that by talking about transfers. You are watching Inside Spurs with our partners, talkSPORT Bet. Don't forget, new customers get an exclusive offer of £40 in free bets when you bet £10. Go to talksportbet.com/Inside Spurs to claim this offer now. So, let's talk about some of these transfers before we talk about that game against PSG, which I'm not looking forward to whatsoever. This could be the window that sets a new precedent for Spurs. Now, over the years, do you know what I liken it to? There was always that kid in school, innit, that was like, Christmas was coming, they're like, bruv, I'm getting the PlayStation and a Python and a car, and you're like, bruv, you're not getting any of those.
Python?
Yeah, Python. There was a Christmas once where a school friend said he was getting a Python for Christmas. Yeah?
Amazing.
He got a budgie.
Oh, no.
So the banner was, we was like drawing the budgie being like eating the pythons. And like, anyway, I'll take you back to when we was all linked with Louis. Yeah? Luis Suarez.
Yep.
Luis Saha comes in. Now, Luis Saha's a great player.
He had a good 6 months.
And he did have a half decent. But what Luis Saha has done in the Premier League, you know, Luis Saha wasn't at that point in his career anymore. You know, done all his best parts. Was also linked with Eden Hazard. We've got Ryan Nelson. Like, you know, all due respect to these players, big love to them. But this thing of Spurs and, you know, what's on the Christmas list and then what comes out the other side, I wouldn't be sending thank you notes. I'd be so annoyed.
Satsuma and a lump of coal. That's what we're getting this year.
I'd rather have that
Yeah.
than some of the ones.
Top.
Yeah. I tell you what, this is where we have to make the change. And we've already heard the rumours that Semenyo has a... You're laughing already because you just know it's not going to get done.
Is it?
And he's an Arsenal fan, and it's just, like, what do we do in January? Because it's a hard transfer window to get things done.
Yeah, and we famously don't do anything in January, do we? Unless, well, saying that, we did, you know, Kulusevski and Benson Core were done in that month. The thing with Semenyo is, I was watching a lot of videos about him, and people were linking him to all the different clubs because he's linked with loads. Funny enough, Spurs is probably the best fit for him.
Yeah.
Because you think, like, Liverpool, does he really fit in? No. Arsenal, could do with a left winger, but how does that... Like, it probably impacts their lineup. They might have to get rid of Wanyeri or Dalman or whoever. City would have to shift to Semenyo, who I bet they wish they sold to us now for 70 million. And then United have got too many forwards. So on paper, he actually fits us really well because he can play on the left. He knows Kudus from Ghana. So it's all quite nice there. Spurs should be talking to him now. I don't know, I don't want to say tapping up or get myself into any trouble, but like we should be going to them now and being like, well, it's 75 million then. Why don't, you know, test their resolve, offer him the wages he wants. Hasn't got AFCON because Ghana didn't qualify. They qualified for the World Cup. So, you know, you've got to test these players because a lot of people are saying maybe you should stay until the summer, like Gay should at Palace, maybe you should stay until the summer and wait. It's like, no, offer him Champions League football now, offer him a massive pay packet, say you're going to be at the World Cup next year anyway, you're going to be playing for a bigger club in the Champions League. It's before any of those other clubs get in. But I've said all that, and it might as well have just been hot air because we're not going to do it.
What do you think in terms of the one player we need, Molly? Who would you go for?
I'd absolutely agree that it's Semenyo. I think he has got that slight arrogance about him that our team really needs. Like somebody, like we were saying before, someone who will get other players going. And I think we need that bit of, as I say, arrogance in our team. And it would be such a big statement of intent from the board to go out and get him, like you're saying, go and put the money on the table, get him done early. But as that would be them looking at what we're seeing at the moment, seeing how frustrated fans are, how Thomas Frank's probably frustrated as well, and going, okay, now see what you can do. And that, for me, if he does get that back in of the players he needs and wants in the window, will be far more telling than what we've seen so far this season from Thomas Frank and from the football. So I think, yeah, it has to be Semenyo. It has to be.
Darren?
Look, I can't disagree with any of that. I think if the board needs to read the room in terms of supporters and needs to say, right, we've got Thomas Frank, it's a new regime. Okay, sometimes January is a bit quiet. Let's not make it quiet this January. Let's show our intent, as Molly said, show our intent. Semenyo, there you go. Come and sign for us. Champions League football. Potentially you could be the player to get us up to the European football again this year, whatever it may be. And for me, Ivan Toney. Honestly, I think we should go out and get Ivan Toney. And I know it'd be a loan deal. Good relationship with Thomas Frank, knows him really well. World Cup at the end of this year. If he has any ambition, any slight ambition to go into the World Cup, comes into Spurs, scores 10, 15 goals from now to the end of the season, gets us to where we want to be, it's a win-win for us and him, really, because if not, he goes back and earns his, 600 grand a week in Saudi for the next couple of years.
Just asking you as a player, right, have you ever done this? Because obviously, like, you know, you're good friends with Bentley, you grew up together. Kudus and Semenyo, like we said, the Ghanaian links there, playing for the Black Stars, you know, they've got good vibes. Do players, like, ring each other and go, like, mate, Why don't you come over?
1,000,000%.
Did it happen?
1,000,000%. Me and Benty ended up at Charlton together. We started at Ipswich. I went to Newcastle. He went on to Charlton. I ended up signing for Charlton. Look, when there's discussions going on, yeah, your friends pick up the phone, or you're on international duty. You see what relationship that those two have got, and you say, come and join us. Look, you might be an Arsenal fan or whatever he may be, but who cares?
I was going to ask that because it's been widely reported he's an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't know how you was feeling. I'm still from the Eze one. It was so embarrassing, wasn't it? I feel like you're like a young kid at a dance or something, and you're going to speak to like a girl or a boy that you like, and they literally like all night they're like, mate, I was never getting with you. It was always them.
I just took the free drinks.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Is this not even more though why the board should be going, I'm going to get him? We ain't failing this one.
Yes.
We're not
but
failing
that's
this
why,
one.
we don't know why the previous chairman was offered to leave.
Yeah.
Right? I'm hoping that debacle had something to do with it, because that was embarrassing. I had to go on air with Jason Cundy, me and O'Hara are on air. Jason's got the clown gear on, he's got the violin out.
Of course he has.
And we was all out there, but Sonny, you probably did a video on your channel going, it's here we go, he's coming.
There's so many receipts in the WhatsApp group as well. They all came out yesterday,
Of course
didn't
they did.
the
receipts of... Do you not understand, like, we've got to win a trophy and we're still being bantered because of things like that.
Yep.
Molly, I can't go on. We need to go January and just do it.
Exactly, and I think it's also, that highlights the biggest difference between us and Arsenal across the years, is that we've not only gone and got players who are, as we said earlier, almost there. Give them a couple of years, they'll be ready. Arsenal have gone out and got ready-made players who have hit the ground running. That's what we haven't done. Yeah. And I think that's exactly what Semenyo should be. And that's what we need to do in this window to start even just the building blocks of catching up to where they are. They're only 3 miles down the road, but like we said earlier, it's stratospheric, the difference between where we are and where they're at.
Well, I'm going to cheer us all up now, because we're going to talk about the Champions League game that we have coming up, which is against PSG. Are we feeling more or less confident than when we was going into the Super Cup? I'm feeling less.
Well, I didn't. I thought we were going to lose that game anyway, and it gave us some hope when we were 2-0 up. Just that and the City game, Molly said earlier, couldn't think of 5 games. They were maybe 2 you could pick and go, they were like amazing performances. Because even though, I'm more worried now because PSG have had a bit of a season. When we played them, they'd just come off the back of playing the Club World Cup, no pre-season whatsoever.
Scary.
So they're all knackered. Now it's just like those, as I said, those City and the PSG game, we were man-to-man pressing, the formation made sense, everyone knew what they were doing. I know it fell off at the end, but that was, one of Thomas Frank's first games. But now it's just, you see like the team that they've built and that attack as well. I've got to hope it's not double digits, like in the sense of...
that bad.
I just feel like, especially going away to theirs, their atmosphere... Like, do you go? Like, it's weird because after this game, after playing 3 at the back, do you go again for that 3 at the back? Do you go for 4 at the back? I feel like there's more questions than ever, because I'd want some legs in there this time. I want a Bergvall or a Sarr to at least offer something a bit different. Xavi Simons against his old club, has he got something to prove? They didn't give him a chance. Loaned him out to every club under the sun. I just feel like now. It's just, and if I have to see Richarlison again, I'm going to scream. I've had enough of him leading the line.
It's not going to be Tell because he can't play. Molly, what do you change going into that game?
I think he keeps saying with it, he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
But is it a bit of a free hit, this one, because we expect to lose?
We expected to lose the North London derby. I think...
No, but we expected fight.
We expect that exactly, and that's where the difference has got to be, is that I don't think any Spurs fan thought we would go into the North London derby and do a number over them and beat them. I think the one thing, as you said, we want to see fight, and I think that's where he's got to go, OK, we won't be able to keep PSG out for 90 minutes at their place. We just won't be able to do it with the quality they've got and, dare I say, the lack of quality that we have and we've seen in the North London derby. So he's got to take that as a lesson to go, OK, be pragmatic to an extent. You've got to go there and at least make an account of yourselves. And I think it's interesting, Bergvall, one of our best centre-mids last year, Sarr, one of our best centre-mids that we've seen start the season this year, and they're not even getting a look in under Thomas Frank.
Really
That's where he's got to see... I just don't think that this double pivot of Bentancur and Palhinha is working. There's no creative outlet there, so he's got to look to those players who every time Sarr's come on, I've seen him make a positive impact. Bergvall, I do
Apart
think...
from his defending for one of those goals yesterday, jeez.
Yeah, but in an attacking sense, he gives us something.
No, he does.
And I think he needs to just at least try, take that handbrake off.
This is where we see if Thomas Frank is stubborn or if he learns anything. Has he learnt anything from the North London derby? Do you go there and try to stop them playing? I don't think you do. I think you go and you take it to them. This is a perfect time for me, as an ex-player, it's a perfect time to be going and play them. Because no one expects you to win and you need a reaction. The only thing that the players have to do on Wednesday is show fight, show spirit, show team togetherness and desire to win the game. And if you lose the game, everyone will go, well, fair play, we thought you was going to lose anyway. But you've learned and you reacted off the North London derby. You know what? It might be naive of me, but I'm quietly confident about going there.
Oh, well, I'm not going to have that as a receipt, but yeah.
They got a better, like, you know, you've got to think of Arsenal's attacking lineup's probably not their best asset, but that PSG front line. Although I don't know if Dembele's fit, I'm not sure.
Well, listen, we managed to get through it, guys, so thank you very much. That's all we've got time for on Inside Spurs. A huge thank you to Sonny, Molly and Darren. Until next time, up the Spurs.